A big NBA Today congratulations is in order for Scottie Barnes, who's set to sign a 5-year max rookie extension with the Toronto Raptors. That's what our Adrian Wojnarowski reported earlier today. The deal will be worth up to $270 million.
Oh, man.
And make Barnes the highest paid player in franchise.
So he's the real king of the North.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
remember Darko and his rant? He said he's a future league MVP.
There you go.
Another player extension eligible this summer, Jimmy Butler, was out making his own money, though, this weekend, playing a little Texas Hold'em. Some folks like Neymar,
He was
Ryan
chilling.
Garcia.
Big chilling.
He did double his money.
Sunglasses on.
Pretty good weekend. Look at that. He said, check out my stacks. So we thought that in honor of Jimmy's big weekend and a suitcase full of money there, we would, come to the poker table.
Okay.
We're going to play a little Hold'em or Fold'em.
Okay.
I'm kind of good at this
Roll
game.
through some teams. Are you?
Yeah.
You have a good poker face?
Shark.
Okay. I
feel like you would be really good at this.
We're going to roll through some teams. We're going to decide if we're going to go all in on their star players or whether or not these teams should. So we're going to start with Jimmy Butler, who has just one guaranteed year left on his current deal. So starting on July 7th, he's eligible to sign a 1-year, $59 million extension or void his player option and ink a 2-year, $113 million deal. So let's bring Tim Legler back into the conversation. How should the Heat approach any extension plans for Jimmy Butler here? Should he try to hold on to him or fold and move on?
Let's fold. Let's fold. I know that's a big statement, but look,
Wow.
I think, I was sensing something last year from the Heat, and particularly even the way that Pat Riley addressed some of the things Jimmy Butler did when he wasn't playing at the end of the year and making comments about their opponent when he was sitting on the bench in street clothes. I feel like they're at a point where they want Jimmy Butler to prioritize the regular season more than he does. And I think it's reached a point where they're a little bit frustrated with that. And is it time to think about, with Bam Adebayo as a guy that you can put a star next to, is it time to get a guy maybe that's in a little bit more in the prime years of their career that pay a little bit more attention to that regular season, that can also be a reliable playoff performer? Look, I know how great he is in the postseason, but they want more out of Jimmy Butler, and he's been there quite a while now. I don't think this thing's trending in the right direction.
Okay, so Tim doesn't think it's trending in the right direction, but you are plugged in on all things all over the league as our senior reporter, Ramona Shelburne. How do you see this playing out?
There's actually, you say it's Hold'em or Fold'em.
Yeah.
No, you can call his bluff here.
Oh.
All right, that's actually what's happening. I think Jimmy wants to stay in Miami. I think they would like to keep him. It's just a matter of how much are they going to pay him. And so Tim's right. Like, they have to consider his age, how much he prioritizes regular season. Pat Riley does not say what he said at the end of the regular season for nothing. But Jimmy can take it. Like, Jimmy's the kind of guy you can say that to publicly, and it does not burn bridges. And I think there is a way to solve this here, and it's probably at a lesser figure here, or maybe less years. But I think that you just call the bluff and say, who else is going to trade for you? Is it people think Philadelphia because they have all that cap space? You know the relationship with Joel Embiid, but Philadelphia has eyes on other targets first, and I think an older Jimmy Butler at that price point is going to be hard for them as well too.
And they've been pretty clear that Bam Adebayo is the future of this franchise. Tyler Hero's still under contract, so they sort of have this core. They need to decide how long they want to keep it together. All right, Chiney, should we pivot over to the West?
Let's go.
Brandon Ingram is entering the last year of his contract, eligible to sign a 4-year, $208 million extension with the Pelicans. So do you think, Chiney, that Brandon Ingram is the right running mate for Zion Williamson long term here?
Look, Tim started it. I'm going to have to say fold him. Just because I do see how the way the season ended, and I know he was banged up and it wasn't his best output, but going up against OKC, I think some things got exposed in the sense that we saw Zion's best self, but we did not see B.I.'s best self. We saw the opposite of that. I think it was 12 or 13 points per game at certain stints. And so you do have to prioritize when Zion Williamson is on the floor, how do we make the most of it? Because that has not been guaranteed for most of his career. How do you build? And I do think they have to look elsewhere for building blocks. So I'm going to say fold him.
I mean, you can just let this play out. I think he has trade value. You can extend him and then trade him later because he is younger, and I think he has value around the league. So I don't think you necessarily have to say we're done. You can play it out. You can let him play out an expiring deal. You can do a lesser extension. So I think this is one to watch because his name is definitely in circles right now around the draft and as we go.
You're a real player. Like, you're dealing.
She was about to start dealing.
I'm telling you,
Tim, where do you fall on this
sunglasses.
Yeah, you got to fold him here. Listen, if they give Brandon Ingram a max extension, there should be an investigation. I mean, seriously,
Timmy.
you can't give Brandon Ingram $208 million extension when you look at the way that his season ended in particular. And look, he's dealt with injuries since he's been there. But to Shanae's point, he averaged 14 points a game in that series. He didn't have a single 20-point game, and he had a situation where he was taken out of a game, and they made a run with their reserves to get back into a playoff game, and Brandon Ingram spent that entire time basically sitting on the bench, very, very much in pout mode, thinking about himself, in his own feelings, not really, to me, engaged with the team as they were making this comeback. It was a bad look for him. And more importantly, his performance was a bad look. So you can't go all in on Brandon Ingram with that kind of money. I think to Ramona's point, if you want to try to move him at some point, look, he could be a valuable piece somewhere else because he can score. But I think what happened at the end of the season in New Orleans, I think precludes them from giving him that kind of an extension.
As Ramona said, this is going to be a situation to watch, and so we will.
NBA on the ESPN.